Hey, what's going on, everybody? So listen, for this episode of Session with Seth I've brought someone who everyone knows. Obviously, he's my business partner. He's an awesome guy. Many of you guys know him, have known him through the years from the Boardroom Buzz, and he's an exceptional human being. So you guys, look, we got Patrick Baldwin with us today. So
What's
welcome,
up,
Patrick.
man?
Not much,
Thanks,
man. It's good to see you, bro.
Good to see you, bro. Welcome back to Tampa for your what is this? How many times have I been here in 20? Well, it's 2024 now, but I'm here a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you were here 2 weeks ago.
I know my way around Tampa and
Yeah.
the airport. Thank you, Seth.
So Patrick, we're actually in my house today, and my wife was super excited about us filming. By the way, so she loves it when we do this. So for today, what I wanted to do is I want to do something a little different. So all of you guys know us, you know me, you know Patrick, but you know us from like the way you see us, out on social media. And a lot of you guys know us as people and in persons, but I wanted to get into a little bit different discussion today. And so Patrick, as you guys well know, has been on the Boardroom Buzz for a long time, and he's an awesome guy. He's super funny, super charismatic, is hilarious. And for those of you guys who came to our conference last year, you guys got to see him with his shirt off with a Elon Musk tattoo on his back. So, but today I wanted to do something a little different. So I wanted to have a discussion with Patrick on a more serious note about who Patrick, like, what are you about, man? Like, who are you outside of what people know about you?
Wow.
Tough question. I'm hitting him with this out of the blue, guys, just so you know.
I didn't know what was coming. And
Yeah.
Thanks, Seth.
How do you feel about that question?
I don't feel good about it at all.
So let's do it, man.
I guess I think the thing is pretty private. Thank you for all the nice compliments.
Yeah.
Yes. Seth, you as a business partner is great. And I think a lot of, we've been talking about behind the scenes is like friendship is really, I think, the foundation where this business partnership started with FRAXN. I'm pretty quiet about, personal life. And so, married 20 years, 2 boys, Cole and Kason are 17 and 14.
Yeah.
Awesome kids. Love them. Well behaved. I joked before I flew out with Cole, my 17-year-old, who's very black and white by the book. And I said, make sure you behave. And we're just he behaves all the time. Like he's perfect, and Kason's my little buddy, my mini me. So yeah, man. Active in the church.
Yeah.
I say the church, like active in our church.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But so let me ask you this. So we're building a really interesting company, FRAXN.
Yeah.
And without talking too much about FRAXN, like, let's talk about your kind of idea around a business. Like, from your perspective, like, what's a good business? And I know these are tough questions because you had no idea I was going to ask you. So what's a good business?
Wow. I think it depends on every business. Like what's the model? What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish with the business, right? And so specific to FRAXN, I would say, like, what do we want to accomplish with FRAXN, right?
Fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, for FRAXN, like, I think to me, it's more of a passion project. I think about you and Pest Daily passion project. I think with FRAXN, it's more of a passion project because it didn't exist, right?
That's right.
So it's something that my former business partner and I, as we were looking and searching for, like, hey, we want to get this data. There's got to be data in our business. Like, let's get to the bottom of this. This is definitely something that we don't want to be doing in-house. We need to focus on sales and service at the end of the day, right? Answering the phone, taking care of our customers. And accounting can almost be a distraction and a place where you don't feel like you understand it, that your accountant doesn't understand you and the business model. And this really became like, hey, there's a problem and we can solve it. And so taking our expertise, you with everything, operation-wise, I think outstanding. I think background of having a business, running a business, selling a business, that there's data. Let's tap into it. Let's accomplish what can help other pest control owners. I just want to help. Like, that's me. I want to connect. People have a problem, and I want to help find the solution. So, and that's probably, like, I think ongoing here. A lot of our relationship behind the scenes, doing the Boardroom Buzz, people calling, emailing, saying, hey, I've got this problem. And a lot of it was like, oh, I know exactly who can solve that problem. Let me introduce you to Seth, right? And then it became to solve their problem. And sometimes they would talk to Potomac, who's also with Paul and coasting the Boardroom Buzz, would help solve their problem. And sometimes, a lot of times, they're not ready to sell. Paul would get high-level answers or give high-level answers to the problem. And then they were like, okay, now how do I get there? How do I get it? And I'm like, well, you need to talk to Seth, right? And so then full circle now, it's like FRAXN is actually part of this cycle or ecosystem of how we can help other owners.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So, I've got to know you a lot as a person over the years, right?
Sorry. Yeah,
It's
go
good.
ahead. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
good.
Go
It's
ahead.
good. So I've got to know you a lot as a person, and like it was interesting. Kind of. So we're I guess what, a year and a half down the road here now. I guess with Fraction.
Yeah, yeah.
And the thing that I find super interesting is that you're so willing to help people. Like you're so willing to help people, and it's pretty amazing. And I couldn't tell you how many times I would get a phone call from someone who goes, "Hey, Patrick said to call you," or I get a text message from you. It's like, "Hey, what about this question?"
Yeah.
And I'm going, man. I go, about half the time, like you're working, like you're helping people, like whether it's monetization or whether you're doing it just out of the goodness of your heart. And it's a pretty amazing character trait, man. Honestly,
Thanks, man.
you know.
Yeah, it's actually hard to have this conversation because I like to deflect and whatever, and then turn the thing back on. Like I want to ask you questions. And even doing the podcast, it's like easy for me to ask questions of guests, ask questions
Yeah.
of Paul. I'm very inquisitive, and I want to pull this data out, and then or these questions out, get these answers out, and share it with the world. And I mean, to me, it was like I felt a sense of accomplishment, even if someone's coming to me and saying like, "Here's my problem," like, well, like here's the solution, or here's the way, like
Yeah.
how to get your answer.
So in the world, like there's all different kinds of people, like, right? So there's all different kinds of people. So people who know me in the social media world, they think I'm like this crazy extrovert and like go out there and win. And right, we talked about this last night a
Yeah,
little
we
bit.
did. Yeah.
But the reality is I am kind of introverted, but I'm kind of like a brash person. Like I'm kind of direct, a little rough, like and like you're the kind of the opposite. You're like overly kind and super supportive, and like, it's pretty neat, man. It's pretty neat, you know?
Thanks, bro.
Huh?
I thank you. I would have worn a white shirt today to represent our relationship. It's very yin yang,
Yeah,
right?
I
So,
agree.
so I think we complement each other that way. But yeah, it was interesting as we were talking at dinner last night. I was like, I see you extroverted. You can claim you're introverted. I guess I believe you. Very high energy. I can be predictable. Like I don't know, just for the most part, like predictable. And here's what you get. So
All right, so we've learned a little bit about you, right? And I know this is a hard thing for you to do. I can tell just by the way you're looking at me right now. So for those of you guys who are watching this, like he's giving me the death stare, just
a
FYI.
little bit.
A little bit of the death stare.
We'll cut those out. Go ahead.
No, we'll leave them in. So, but so let me ask you this. So let's make it like a little bit different. So what does a day in the life of being the CEO of Fraction look like for you?
Wow. I think it's still like a lot of it's still startup and figuring this out and
Yeah.
making like continual process improvement. I think that's part of the trip here to Tampa this weekend. So walking through these things. So I'm involved in service. And so service is like Cameron's our account manager, director of finance,
Yeah.
CPA, and he's working with our back office. And we have 15 CPAs that are in the back doing like actually executing the work that clients are paying for. And so we're getting their books in order. A lot of that's actually getting it like all this mess a lot of times, like figuring it out, get all straightened out, and then delivering these monthly reports. And so we meet and go through I call it a pipeline, but it's a service pipeline. All of our clients and like everything what we need or what we're missing, and make sure that we're communicating that. There's sales, and there's when the demos, the walkthroughs are coming in, then when they schedule time and want to walk through Fraction, what does it do? How does it help me walk through that? So that's a lot of what I do as far as sales and
It's exciting,
marketing.
isn't it?
I love it. I love it. I
Yeah.
love the variety. Like every day is different. It's just like pest control. Like every day is different, and that's where I get my energy. So yeah.
Yeah, one of the things for those of you guys who are watching us today is like one of the things that like we're really looking at while Patrick's in town is we're looking at the entire journey of a customer, and so and it's kind of interesting because like from my perspective, I can stand outside and I can go, what is this journey look like? How do we make the customer feel incredible? How do we make really bookkeeping and CPA work like incredibly easy for somebody? And we're studying it like crazy. We're working at it really hard because Patrick works super hard. Our team works super hard. And as many of you guys know, is as you're building your companies or have built a company, it's like there's tons and tons of things going on all the time, right? You got to worry about sales, you got to worry about operations, you got to about service. In our world, we have to worry about delivery, technology, and all these different things. And frankly, for a year and a half old company, I mean, Patrick and the team that runs our team that runs the back end operations has crushed it over the last year and a half, and we've had incredible growth, and that's
Yeah.
good. But one of the things that I always look for And it's one of the things that I love about Patrick as a business partner. And it's the same thing that when I talk to companies that I love about CEOs is like, no matter if things are going great, because for us, things are going great right now. They really are going great. Is that even when they're going great, we look for continual improvement, continual improvement, continual improvement, continual improvement. And it's been really an amazing, it's pretty amazing. And, but I think like, Patrick, I guess from your perspective, is that like in life in general, and we talk about simplification and making things really easy. Like, what does that actually mean to you? Ooh, I'm hitting you with
Simplification.
them today,
Yeah.
aren't I, buddy?
Wow. All right. Good question. I would say even like going back to the continuous improvement, right? So Seth sent me a list of 34 questions before I came to Tampa and
Uh,
said, answer all these, right?
34. So I made him onboard like we onboard our consulting clients, guys. So for those of you guys who work with us, you guys know what that takes.
Yeah. So as soon as I read this, I like first thing I did is I will do this. Like I snooze. Like I read through them. It's like I'm not answering a single thing right now because like this is making me think, and I don't have the brain capacity to do this and actually like process all of these questions because they were deep thinking. And actually, I was like, let's retitle this document. Patrick, you suck as a CEO. Although that's not wasn't your intention.
Really?
Yeah.
That's you to make it?
Yeah, because I think it yeah, like that was my initial reaction. I was like, wow, this is really fun, sarcastically, because it made me think critically, right?
Yeah.
And when I think critically and I overthink things, and I think there's a lot of room for improvement. But they were all at the end of the day when I came back to it the next day and began to actually process it, and then I wasn't just the problem, but the solutions began to shine light on the solutions. And I think the cool thing, at least here, this relationship, is I didn't take, and I think it's the same with you and your consulting clients, and I know it is because I gotta like sit in on these calls when they call in, and you're like, hey, Fat Pat's here, by the way, just before like they start divulging all their life secrets or whatever. But the relationship we have, I knew it wouldn't be like critical or judgmental, and I think that goes back to even before Fraction, just like our relationship, friendship there. And so I think I knew walking into it, yes, I'm going to be vulnerable. We're going to walk through these. We're going to improve the business. Me as a CEO, work through these things. And so I was like, I know this is for the greater good. Yes, I will like grin and bear it. We'll get through this. We'll walk through this together. I'll answer as much as I can right now. And then knowing that you'll be supportive, and then you have the systems and processes, I think, to help like bring that into Fraction to make sure that it does function better. At the end of the day, it goes all the way back to the client experience and taking care of our colleagues and peers in the industry and giving them a solution that they need. So if I have to go through like the sacrifice and the pain of like going through the 34 questions to help them out, then I'll do it. So I did it for y'all.
I mean, it's honestly really tough. So what he's describing, and I think is that we develop questions and structure that slows people down, because too often when you go through an onboarding with a company, is that the questions are like check the box. So it's almost like generic things. And so when someone goes through generic, like they look at it as a task and they go, well, I need to just get these things done. So I've got this list of questions so I can get up and running at what I'm going to do. And they just rush through them without putting thought into it. And so by design, what I sent Patrick, and he's describing is the questions are incredibly complex. And we actually write them at a very high level from a language standpoint. So it slows you way down. So you actually have to think through the questions and go slow. And it's a cool experience. But at the end of the day,
Cool. It's a cool experience.
that good of an experience?
I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah.
I'm still bitter.
Are you still bitter?
No, but when you
I mean, it's a day away, or I guess it's a couple weeks away now from when you started that process.
the questions?
Yeah.
No, it's still fresh.
Oh,
I still feel it. But when you explain the methodology and like the type of even the syntax and the words that you were using, because I'm like, oh, these syllables, like there's like 2 syllables in a lot of these words, like this is way.
That's a
above.
lot for me.
Yeah, like it did actually slow me down. So you explained it, I was like, okay, there's purpose for this pain, but yes, I'll get through it.
It's cool.
It was helpful.
It's cool. So yeah, but at the end of the day, it's designed to simplify everything. And once you get through it, as we got through it, we started to simplify our processes really easily. So it makes it a better customer experience.
What I thought was funny is like I took your document, it was the Google Doc, and I duplicated it so I could make my own version. I could work through it because I didn't want stuff like
because
I didn't want you reading my answers like until I like work through them on my own. Or
that's hilarious.
Like, why is it taking 5 minutes for this next question? Like I don't I need time.
I mean, I would have done that.
I know.
You know my personality.
I know.
So, well, cool, man. Why I enjoy you hanging out with me for like a little bit. I know we got a couple more days going on. So,
Yeah.
what questions do you have for me, man? Since we're here,
Well,
you can ask me anything. We're on our YouTube channel, so we can do whatever we want.
I guess so. I guess so. All right. So I know consulting clients.
Yeah.
I think about this like your full capacity there.
Yep.
Okay. So when someone, I think it's almost, I know you're busy. I you have a very regimented schedule.
Mhm.
Okay. Someone has a need, and I think, how do you approach that when like I come to you and say like, hey, someone's got a problem. They have a question I can't answer.
Yep.
Okay, and you're like, I don't know how you do it, but it's almost like very graciously like, yeah, I'll make time. I'm like, I don't know how you can make time.
Yeah, it's so we've got some really unique secret sauce to the business, which and so one of the things that I'm ultra committed to is that our businesses are really built on a passion, right? Like I am absolutely driven by seeing companies succeed. And and this is going to come across really interesting. And I've never shared this with you, but I did share it with our whole team yesterday as one of our kickoff meetings. And so the one thing that I've realized in our business is that the people that we work with in consulting or companies, clients that are fraction clients, or people that buy Pest Daily, is like these are people who are ultra productive people. These are people that go out and win, right?
Yeah.
They're out there winning, and maybe they're not winning every day, but they want to win, right? But when I spoke with our team yesterday, and I kind of laid out the path, is I said the thing that we have to realize in our business is that the people we're serving and serving at even more of a level than the people that are customers is that guy in a truck, right? It's the guy that's a $50,000 company who's just trying to figure out how to get his bills paid. It's the guy who goes to a YouTube channel or maybe calls you, who probably isn't necessarily, definitely not a consulting client, probably not a fraction client yet,
Yeah.
but it's the guy who doesn't know what to do, right?
Yeah.
But but if he can get 10 seconds of your time or a minute of my time or 20 minutes of my time,
Yeah.
that costs, I mean, it's worth lots and lots of money, but if you
Yeah.
can get a couple minutes and it changes his entire life,
Yeah.
like that's what drives me. And I challenged our company yesterday. We talked about it, was that that's the people that we serve that we don't realize we serve.
Yeah.
And so, and so I look at it and I think about it and I'm like, and I'll give you another example. So, in Pest Daily, we very rarely ever lose customers, right? Very rarely. Our churn is very, very low. And I talked about it on I think a Buzz episode a couple weeks ago. But the thing about it is that I really study the data. So we've got customers who buy the product, right? They buy the product and then they cancel right before the trial's done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I track it like crazy. And so I'll reach out to them and I'll say, why? Oh no, we loved it. We loved it. We can't afford it. Fair enough. It's not that expensive, but they can't afford it. But I don't want to make them feel bad. And so I say, okay, cool. Well, look, we're here for you, right? And I notice like certain companies, they wait until because they know the game, right? They know. They wait, and after I think it's 60 days, they can buy it again for a couple days, and they do another little trial, or 90 days. I don't remember. They do a little trial, but it's funny because I track it. And then what I've also learned is that those people that I track is that all of a sudden, a few months down the road, they buy a license, but now they might buy 2 licenses. Right? And I'm like, oh, cool. So you bought 2 licenses. Oh, the business must be growing.
Yeah.
And so I reach out to him from time to time. And the reason I bring that up is because we have to realize who we serve. And the people we serve are the people that have a deep desire to need something. And and frankly, I really don't have the time, but I make the time. I make it happen. I jump on a text message if I need to, like in between calls,
Yeah.
throughout the day. And that's how we do it, man. And honestly, it's super exciting. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I love like you have the secret sauce. I know that. I don't know what all the secret sauce is, but you make the time, you help solve their problems, and it's like it helps me because I feel like, hey, here's someone with a problem, here's someone that has an answer, and just like to get connect. So thank you. And it's not even like the checking the box.
No.
It's really just knowing like helping people. I know people can get lost in the everyday, like the rut, the routine, and they forget like how am I going to make it? How am I going to get to tomorrow? How am I going to pay my bills? And all that stuff.
100%.
And there are like here people that have made it successful business.
Yeah.
It is a hard business, especially in the summer.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, like the calls are coming in, right? It's different problems. In the summer, it's like hot, and you're like, how am I going to literally survive? In the winter, it's like, how am I going to financially survive at times, But there are answers to those problems, and yes, you can make it. And sometimes it's just an encouraging call to like, yeah, you could do it. And
Exactly.
so that's what I feel is like. People go through hard times, and it's like, I want to make sure that they're good. Like that's what I want to be there, just
100.
like can encourage them.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm sitting here listening to you go, yeah, in the summertime it's really hard. In the wintertime it's not so. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm like, because we're kind of the opposite, right? Because we service the customer.
Yep.
And like the wintertime, like we're super crazy busy. In the summertime, it's like nice and slow and relaxed. And our business is,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little different, So
I like how I have a session with me, like I can turn it into a session with you. Like this is the best session ever.
that was pretty good. So what else, man? Anything else, or do we wrap this thing up, man?
All right, so I know we've got energy coming up, so I don't know how
Yep.
quickly you. Okay, you have an amazing team, by the way.
Oh,
So
thanks.
Kelly behind the camera here, Amanda,
A bunch more,
I
yeah.
know Caitlin, and the team is growing. So stand up people there, stand up like as far as philosophy and how you just take care of each other. I love it. You got energy coming up in a few weeks.
Mhm.
All right, so Kelly, are we going to be able to turn this around before energy? Good stuff. All right, so question number one.
Yes.
What are you hoping to get out of energy?
Wow, what a great question. So obviously energy is part of a 5-part series. And personally, we ran our first conference last year. It was crazy. It was crazy cool, successful for people.
Yeah.
And there's one thing that I care about in these conferences is that when I look across that room, I want every single person in that room to take one little bit of information away and go home and do something with it, right? And so I know last year at Power, people did.
Mhm.
And I want everyone to have one little takeaway. I don't care if it comes from me. I don't care if it comes from something you say. I don't care if it comes from the CEO panel that's going on. I don't care if it comes from Paul, but I want everyone to have one little takeaway. The other thing I want them to do is I want them to make some friends.
Mhm.
And so there's a much different relationship when you meet someone in person.
Mm.
Much different.
Yeah.
And so it's one thing if we want to get on Facebook and be Facebook friends, but it's another thing if you could shake someone's hand, have a cocktail with them, and meet them. And so one of the things that came out from last year is so many people said they met great people because of the way that we structure it with the networking capability.
Yeah.
And a lot of them become really good friends since then. And that's how you build an ecosystem. That's how you build a community. And so what I really want to see is 10 years from now when I look back at this 5-year series that we're doing, I want to look back and be like, holy shit, we made helped some people get really successful.
Yeah.
Or they had other people that they met that helped them get really successful.
Yeah.
If we accomplish that, we've won.
Yeah. I think some people coming in, maybe they feel like they've hit a wall or they have hit a plateau, and there's going to be one
Yep.
thing to unlock that. It's the community. Just like being people person, right, and watching them, soaking that in. I know it's a great speakers coming in. They're
Incredible this year.
I'm super excited to see it. But yeah, those relationships and them just like working together because they're all different. There's over 100 different personalities in the room,
Yep.
but they have, I think, at least one thing in common.
Yep.
So to watch them come together, they all want to grow. They all have like hyper focus.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and I think like personally for me, like I like this conference because the speakers that we bring are so good and so strong. And when I look across the room, it's kind of interesting when you host a conference and and everyone around you is a lot better than you are, in all honesty. And that's something that's pretty interesting about this group. And so because of that, is I don't feel the pressure to bring this like crazy like specific value, but I get the ability to be creative and bring some of these cool new things that I've been thinking about in front of 100 and whatever 145 people this year.
yeah.
And so I like that kind of stuff, And then people go, "That's crazy, but it's pretty awesome too."
So what of all the speakers last year at Power, what was your biggest takeaway?
Wow, wow, oh, gosh, I really enjoyed the sessions last year. Um,
You have to pick one. And I'm not trying to beat down any of the other speakers because they
yeah,
were all phenomenal. But like what was your one like maybe aha moment?
well, I had two aha moments, but I'll tell you the most meaningful one first. And you know, one of the things that I really enjoyed last year is my good friend Patrick Moritz, who'll be back this year. Is I've known him. He's been a really close friend of mine for years and years. Like, I mean, probably 20 years now. And I was on the journey that he walked through with him, and
Mhm.
the way that he opened up was unreal. Right? You
I was
remember?
thinking about Patrick as I was asking the question.
Yeah, it was unreal. It was an unreal experience to see a super close friend be that open to an audience that he doesn't know.
Yeah.
And the reason, and at the time I didn't realize it, but when I took a look back and thought about it, I went, you know what? He did something really special that I think people need to take into account, is that he said it's okay to be authentic. It's okay to be vulnerable in front of a large group of people, because too often in the world today, people don't. They're very protective in front of others,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I honestly think, like, looking back a few weeks later, it kind of made me rethink my business. It made me rethink, like, the importance of some of the stuff that we do and how we approach things. And I mean,
Yeah. Oh, he didn't just say it's okay to be safe or like to be vulnerable or transparent. Like
yeah,
he was like,
yeah,
I mean, it's hard to think like, was there a dry eye in the room? Because I think by the time it was like, I mean, it was deep, dark. I mean, not just dark, but like hard and just
yeah,
I can't even replicate it, but it was just like it was a moving talk.
yeah. And he's coming back this year again to talk
Yeah.
about the next year. And I
Okay.
don't want to share any of it now,
Yeah.
but I'm excited to hear the next stage. But
Cool. Hopefully, it makes me smile this time. Last year, I was like,
this one will. But all right. So, however, I'll tell you the most impactful moment for me.
okay.
The most impactful moment for me was when you took your shirt off, because I realized that it was time for you to get back into the gym.
And that's a wrap.
and
And that was the episode of Session with Fat Pat will never publish.
no, but in all honesty, man, it was that's what it was. So I mean, since you asked me the question,
Whatever. You can't say that. What? It is fun. Episode 96, when all of a sudden, like for the curious case of Fat Pat and private equity or whatever that we filmed in Puerto Rico and San Juan. Yeah, when you get called Fat Pat to the industry, and all of a sudden it's like there is some extra motivation to not be as fat, or to lose some weight. And
I
so,
mean, you're looking fit now.
thanks, man.
Yeah, you're looking like fit.
Thank you. I thank you. But yeah, I don't want to hear that. I actually want you to tell me I look fat, 'cause that's the motivation. Yeah, but I have like 3 or 4 weeks to lose, I don't know, 50 pounds or something.
50 pounds.
Yeah, why not?
Ooh. So, well, cool, man. Well, I guess I guess it's a wrap, man. I mean, what do you think? You think we did a good job for everybody?
I guess put a comment or something, however you want to communicate with us, and tell us how I suck at life, because that's what the Mexican does. Yeah.
Hey, we can't just give him a quote like what the Mexican does in the middle of the.
Why not?
Because I said so. It's Session with Seth.
All right. So.
No, it's good, man. Well, man, I appreciate you coming over. I know we're hanging out the next couple days, so appreciate you hanging out in my living room and doing this silly session with me.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Love y'all.
Yeah. Hey, you guys have a great one. We'll see you guys in the next one. See you guys.